Sometimes I'm not looking for anything. Occasionally I have a project in mind, but I tend to buy fabric more. I'll go in and I'll see some things I like and buy them, and then an idea will come afterwards. So it's not get the idea and get the fabric for it, it's get the fabric first. I'm always drawn to the reds. See what's new. I often will just come up to my studio and decide it just feels like a red day, and I'll haul out a stack of fabric that have red patterns, and usually an idea will emerge out of that. So I think it's just the color, the texture, the fabric themselves that give me inspiration. I was an art major in college and always liked the colors and patterns and so forth, but real life intervened. So I didn't get back to sewing until later in life, toward my retirement. And since then, I've been sewing every day. People ask, oh, do you buy a lot of stuff online? And I will if I already have seen the fabric, but I want to be able to feel it and feel there's a real difference in quality. And you have to see it and you have to actually feel it. And sometimes you look at the price tag, and sometimes that will give you some additional information, but it's mostly through the feel. To be honest, a lot of what I make to sell, I enjoy making it because I like working with the colors, but I don't really have any attachment to it. And if it goes, yay, I'm glad to see it go. I always think about the person. When my oldest grandson went to college, I've always made quilts for my grandkids, and he lives in Florida and was going to college in Maine, and thought that it would be helpful to have something warm. So when I was in Florida visiting, I dragged him to a fabric store with me down there, and he picked out some different flannels to use. I have a baby quilt lined up now that I'm about to make for a former student of mine. And his mother, a long time ago, gave me a chenille bedspread that had been on her father's bed. So it's probably 100 years old. And it's not a color I usually use, but I've kept it. And this person is having, he and his wife are having a baby boy. So I found colors that kind of match up with this quilt. So I can use it on the backing, and I think he'll really enjoy the fact that it was his grandfather's. So that's the kind of thing that makes the sewing more interesting, more intimate. I started making some animals for the next sale I'm doing, and I just wasn't sure what to use. And I went in the closet where I have this stack of old bedspreads, and this pink just said, I need to be a bunny. So out it came, and it got chopped up and stuffed, and here it is. Yep. Here's an example of somebody's auntie or grandmother or someone in the family. You know, people clean this stuff out, and generally nobody wants it, and I always want it. And some of these pieces are really nice old brooches that we're gonna get tossed in the dump or who knows what. But that's another thing that I love to think about how to use it, and sometimes I'll have one of these first and then I'll find the fabric for the apron, and sometimes the other way around. There's just something so timeless about things that have lived through the years, and I just love the idea of repurposing old fabrics and combining them with something new, so that You know, you can kind of almost imagine the person who did the embroidery years ago and wonder what it might be like if, I'm sure it was a she, knew where this had ended up years later, kind of following a story.